Monarch Nation, welcome to the Monarchists. We're here to talk about the big win over Bowling Green. But first, Aaron, Gary, how y'all doing?
Well, I'm just going to open the episode with this, because I might not get a chance the rest of the way. Technically, we won yesterday with a 50-plus yard field goal by Ethan Sanchez. I mean, it wasn't at the end of the game, but without that kick, we don't win. So technically, I'm not wrong. Just saying, feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I guess technically you are right. It was almost even better because he almost had the 58-yarder too. So yeah, you're right on the money. But I'm feeling good. I think I've been running on just pure adrenaline for the past 24 hours after 7 straight days on the road. But man, what a game yesterday. What a win for the guys. If that doesn't get you pumped up as a Monarch fan, I don't know what will.
And we got to say, buy the shirt, guys. Buy the shirt.
We've been telling them that for weeks.
We told y'all this guy is a baller, and he did it again yesterday. That interception and that return were just so huge for us. What a player.
I mean, big time play in a big moment when we desperately needed it to get our offense jump started with the short field. And he said afterwards that he baited the quarterback into throwing that pass, and he undercut it and picked it off. He may have shared too much in that post-game interview, but that's okay. He got the interception anyhow. But, man, to do that to a guy that has played and started the Power 5 level, that's got 6 years of experience, that's a special talent to do something like that.
If you're trying to find that shirt, you can find it at odumonarchist.com up at the top. Click on store. If you can't remember that, that's okay. Hit us on any of our social media platforms, and we'll be sure to share that link with you.
Yes, sir. All right. Before we get into the game, we got to talk about the watch party. Me and Aaron finally got to attend one, and we had a blast. A lot of great Monarchs came and hung out and drank a lot of the Monarch last night. I want to thank everyone that showed up and came out, and let you know we're going to do another one this Saturday for Coastal Carolina. So come join us.
Hey, Mike, before we move on, as always, we get some calls. One of those calls talked a little bit about the party. Why don't we go ahead and play that real quick?
Hey, guys, Justice here. It is good to wake up on a Sunday morning after a win. Big win yesterday. Very encouraged by what I saw from the offense. The play calling, using all aspects of the field, was very refreshing. And then just a shout out to Afterglow, all the Monarch fans that came out to the watch party last night. They were loud and proud, and kudos to them. Go Monarchs.
Kudos indeed. Thank you for calling in, Justice. Thanks for coming last night. It was great talking football all game long. Happy you could make it.
It looked like a great time. I was definitely showing off some of those videos there in the press box to some people, and I think they realized that, one, there was a watch party, and then two, how many fans were there and how into it they were. So it looked like a blast. Can't wait to get down there for one.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, pretty much everybody who was there talked about how much of a good time they had, and that if they weren't on the road next week going to Coastal, that they would definitely be back at the watch party. So that's encouraging. Afterglow is such a great partner. They were very welcoming of all the Monarch fans and made it a great place to be. Had, all the TVs had the game on. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was awesome. All right. Old Dominion is 1-3 because of yesterday's performance. It doesn't sound pretty to say the 1-3 part, but it's fantastic to say that we won yesterday. And what a way we won. The improbable happened yesterday. But let's start with this first half. I was very happy to see the middle of the field being used, just as Justice said. That Tebow jump pass was brilliant. I don't know if it was designed, but Grant walking up to the line, pulling in those linebackers, looks like a QB draw, and he just dumps it to Conway. Um, phenomenal play there.
If you went back and watched last week's show, and you were to do one of those word clouds, I know where you work, Gary. I think word clouds are like really popular and stuff like that. The most frequently used words or phrases that we talked about was like middle of the field. We wanted to use parts of the field that we had not been using the rest of the season up until this point. And boy, did they do it right there. I mean, that first drive right there arguably could have been the best drive of the season so far. I mean, you were there, Gary. So, I mean, talk about what it looked like from your vantage point.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Mike, saying 1-3 sounds a whole hell of a lot better than saying 0-4. So even if it's weird, I'm happy we're saying 1-3. Offense looked completely different in that first half, not just in the plays that we're calling using the middle of the field, but how we were set up. And when's the last time you saw this team have two running backs on the field in the backfield? Like, totally kind of caught Bowling Green off guard. They looked like they were setting up for the usual guys at the sideline and all of that. And we kind of pulled those guys back in towards the middle of the field a little bit more, threw them off, found some space, made them defend the full width of the field. Hitting guys over the middle. We found success in the running game as well. Pat Conroy, man, how about a breakout game? I mean, for most of that game, he was 2 for 2 with 2 touchdowns. Hard to beat that. But it looked like we were doing more to help our quarterback, help our offensive line, which also had quite a few changes in that lineup. But it was nice to come out and punch somebody in the mouth for a change instead of constantly playing catch up from the jump. And I think you have to give a lot of credit to this coaching staff for what they did in the bye week, how they adjusted and how they attacked what Bowling Green's weaknesses were and got us on the board early and often.
I want to go back to that first drive, Aaron. As soon as it ended, when we scored, I said to you, that's probably the most complete drive we've had in a long time. Beautiful mixture of passing and running the ball. That was just brilliantly drawn up and well executed by the team. And then you mentioned the changes on the offensive line. Barlev at left tackle, it worked. I don't know.
That wasn't the only change. That wasn't the only change on the O-line.
No, it wasn't, but I really liked that one because he played fantastic on the blind side.
Yeah, Barlev's play has kind of been buried in all the sacks that have been given up, but he's actually had a fantastic year. He is playing really, really well, and he gets out of his comfort zone a little bit, goes to the outside, and man, that made a big difference. But at left guard, we saw someone we haven't really seen on the field this year, but we know pretty well Elijah Hoskins gets the start at left guard, and I thought him and Flores side by side was pretty special up the middle. Still some things to work on there for sure, but I think it actually looked a little bit better than the previous game when we made some other changes.
And for those that missed the announcement, Elijah Hoskins is the first Monarchist NIL athlete. So shout out to Elijah. Way to go. We're proud of you. We're happy for you. Keep charging.
And keep that arm loose. We put that video out on our Twitter account of Barlev and Hoskins throwing some deep bombs to each other before the game. That was a lot of fun to watch. And they got arms and hands. So if they need to break out one time and maybe run that tackle pass, I think those are two guys that could do it.
Hey, we're always ready for a thick six, right?
Oh, definitely. Skylar Grant's wearing 83. He's our second tight end right now, one of the two that's available. So maybe that pops up in the future. We get that thick six that we love so much.
And while we're talking about the first half, we have to talk about Aaron Young's play yesterday. That was kind of a big breakout game for him, most effective game he's had since coming to Old Dominion. And he's a big part of why we won yesterday. Just running tough, hard-nosed football yesterday from Aaron Young.
And I talked to him post-game, and he reiterated what he said to us on media day out there on the field of there's a lot of guys on this team that have been through some tough situations throughout their football career. And those guys are the ones that are kind of leading the team right now. Like, how do we get through this tough time of being 0-3? And we have to make those late comebacks to go win a game. And I think that experience and them being kind of even keel and focusing on the bigger goal is helpful. And he's a big one leading that charge. So glad he got that game-winning touchdown. But just really glad to see the payoff for him of working through some pretty tough situations.
All right, Aaron, you had some more callers. I think this would be a good time for the next call.
Yeah, we actually had two. I'll play the second one for you. And the third one, he had no voice left after an ODU wedding / watch party and had to text me the call. Here's the second call.
Hey guys, Ryan here. Literally just calling in just to say finally got the win, and you gotta enjoy it. You gotta let it marinate. They played good football. They played winning football, and on top of that, they beat a good team. So hopefully, getting into conference play, Sun Belt from here on out, they can build on it and continue to give us some wins. That's all. Take care and rain on.
Rain on. All right, what you got? Read this text to us.
I will, but now I'm getting hungry because Brian's talking about marinating. And I'm thinking of a steak with marinating along with the win. All right, so the third one is from Garrick. Garrick has no voice after this big wedding / watch party. And here it is. Ricky continues to showcase. He's great out of the bye. One of the better complete games we've seen from all phases of the game. Offense didn't skip a beat when Colton came in, and this team answered everything thrown at them. Still have to limit the big plays on defense. Decker also needs to tighten up his clock management play calls. Ricky didn't look too happy at the end of the second, but let's keep stacking these plays as we get into conference play. The Duke of Discipline approves with a limiting of penalties.
I'm glad that name is sticking.
I want to give credit to the staff because we finally saw some really good rotations at receiver. And it was just nice to see more than the same three guys all game long. I don't know where Dom Dutton is. If you guys know where he is, let me know. But it was good to see some rotations at receiver for the first game.
Yeah, we did see Demarion Houston get quite a few snaps. They ran one jet sweep to him. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of rotation. There's a lot of rotation in the backfield. Roche was back, got some carries in there. Of course, Bryce Duke was in there, and I have to give Bryce Duke some credit on the second Conroy touchdown, the Tebow jump pass, as you've dubbed it, and rightfully so. You may not be able to see it on video, but Conroy was going to get tracked down by a cornerback, and Bryce Duke was just like getting in his way, not blocking in the back, not doing anything to get a penalty. It looked like me trying to get past somebody in the airport with my suitcase trying to go past him. That's what he did, and it let Conroy go right into the end zone. So heads up play by Bryce Duke to make that second touchdown happen and give Conroy that second touchdown. That was that tied Conroy's longest career reception of 75 yards. He had that back at Merrimack. Yeah, I mean it was good. Just love seeing more guys getting on the field because I think we're much deeper with our talent this season than we have in the past.
I want to take a quick step back real quick before you move on, just because.
Well, I wasn't going to move on. I was going to add a comment to Gary's thing about depth.
Go for it, man.
This staff has preached how much depth this team has had all offseason, and we are seeing it come in clutch because of so many injuries to this team. So, yeah, credit to the staff for putting together the deepest roster they've had since coming to Old Dominion. Sorry, Aaron.
That's okay. I was going to take a step back to one thing that Garrick said that goes back to last week's show that you guys discussed is Ricky's record coming off of a bye. So, I mean, until that streak is broken, I mean, I think we have to run with it. Obviously, there's some magic there. It's that is not by chance. I mean, how many is it now? Is it 4?
4, yeah.
4-0.
That's 4. That doesn't happen on accident. So
No, it's a sign of great preparation and game planning. So credit to the staff. Credit to the changes they made. I know when you have two guys competing, or you have the head coach and the OC, they clearly weren't on the same page those first few games, but this week showed that they can be, and I'm happy that those changes occurred because we looked like a completely different ball club yesterday.
Now, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because the first half and the second half were a little bit different with regards to this play calling. So I don't want to jump too far yet because we're not in the second half yet, but hats off to the coaching staff for getting ready for that game.
Yeah, Garrett talked about the clock management there before the end of the first half. We found ourselves in between like two difficult decisions of if we keep going fast and we don't get a first down, we're going to give the ball back to Bowling Green with time. But if we get a big play, we may not have time left to continue going down the field. And we did have some opportunities on that drive with some bigger chunk plays that would have gotten us into better field goal position. But the throws kind of sailed and we missed a couple open receivers. But it did give us the opportunity to try a 58-yard field goal. And the wind was blowing basically straight across the field, like right down the middle of the field, going in the direction of where we were kicking those long field goals. And the wind had died down a little bit just before that 58-yard attempt. But also really important to point out that Bowling Green was offsides on that, and the operation got rushed a little bit because there was someone coming in. It was obvious enough of an offsides that the stat caller in the press box, as soon as the ball got snapped, yelled offside penalty, and everyone kind of stopped paying attention. And then we looked back to the field and realized there was no flag on the play. So I think if you give Ethan another 5 yards from 53, he would crank it through without him being offsides, because that first one he made, I'm not joking when I say he would have been good from 65. He blasted that thing through the uprights.
Yeah. Ethan, we're not winning that game without that field goal. So, Aaron, congratulations.
I think for that one, Aaron, you got to somehow get your leg up there and flex that leg muscle. Maybe we don't want to see that. Can we edit and blur on this?
One, you don't want to see it. Two, I'll probably pull a hamstring, a quad, everything that's in there. We don't, I'm almost 50 years old. So the little flexibility that I ever had is long gone.
We'd send you to the training room after the episode.
Yeah, this is Justin Walker is not on this episode. So yeah, I'm going to keep my legs below the table.
Speaking of Justin, he's got a sweet.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say he was rocking a sweet powder blue suit as he was traveling to the hotel and to the game, and it looked very sharp in the hotel lobby.
He's got a lot on his plate right now with the way this team is. These injuries are stacking up.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about some of them that were not there?
Well, I think the biggest injury we have to talk about is Grant. That was a huge impact in this game and changed how we call plays in the second half. I don't know. Colton made the plays when it mattered most, and he was killer with his legs. But if we can get the passing down for him, but yeah, injuries.
Yeah, well, Grant is playing through a lot of pain. Like, I won't speculate on exactly what the injury is, but clearly there's something there on his non-throwing arm, because he did have the big brace again. It was just kind of taped up, so it didn't look as obvious as it did on the sideline for Virginia Tech. He was playing through a ton of pain. And that first drive coming out of halftime, he got hit in that arm twice. And, you could tell he was hurting. Ricky had a pretty long conversation with him after that last drive over kind of in the quarterback huddle where they have their chairs set up. He's a trooper for battling through what he's battling through right now, and to go out there and really have a great first half. Like, he looked pretty good in the first half. Missed a couple throws, a couple reads, but at one point he was 5 for 6 for like over 100 yards and a touchdown. Like, that was the best half he's probably had this season. But a couple other guys, Jason Henderson did not make the trip. Jalen Butler did not make the trip. You're kind of getting to a point now where you have to think about, like, do we hold them out, let them play the last 4 for Jalen, last 3 for Jason, and think about redshirt or something. But obviously what their recovery is not going as fast as I'm sure as they want to, and how everyone else is hoping it goes.
Yeah. Prayers and all that to Jason and Jalen and the other guys that are injured right now. Hope you have a swift recovery, but I mean, these are things that are stacking up for us. I mean, you said it already. Skylar Grant was our backup tight end last night.
Yeah. And I will tell you, like, if the Sun Belt ever mandates injury reports, your view of this team's toughness would change drastically. I don't know if we have any guys out there that don't have some sort of injury, even coming off of a bye week. And they're still going out there. They're still playing hard. Like, Conroy is on the field basically every single offensive play, and he is hitting someone on every single offensive play. And he knows he's really the only tight end that's available. And I was glad to see him get rewarded with 2 big touchdown catches. Really made 3 of the most critical plays of the game on offense for us.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been someone with 3 catches who's been as impactful as Conroy was yesterday. I mean, 2 touchdowns, and then the big 4th down play for 15 yards from Colton.
Yeah. Game over if he doesn't catch that one. Like, the ball game's over and we lose. But he made a great catch.
Literally.
Yeah. But that was one of the few times we threw the middle of the field in the second half. And you saw it pay a big, big dividend for us in that moment.
Yeah. Aaron?
No, I'm just thinking to myself that since you just went there, Gary, moving forward, if Grant is injured for any period of time and Colton is the guy, we have got to have the offense look more like what we called in the first half than what we called in the second half, in my opinion. I mean, we went back to not playing with the whole field. Luckily, Colton's got great mobility and he was able to make some plays. I mean, he just made plays when they mattered. But in order to have any sustained success or consistency, we're gonna have to give him some other things to work with.
Yeah, and the game seemed like it was moving pretty fast to him when he first got plugged in there, like similar to the way he looked in those 2 drives against Virginia Tech. But he made some plays with his feet, completed a couple passes, and you could see him start settling in. And then he looked like a 4-year experienced starter on that last drive. Like, game slowed down, had great vision, made the right decisions. There was one play where he dove forward to go out of bounds after getting hit by somebody to stop the clock. I mean, just little smart heads up plays that he's probably been making his whole time he's ever played football. And he got to kind of go out and have some fun playing football. I mean, what more could you want than leading a game-winning drive on the road, coming on in relief? So happy for him.
On the post game, when you were talking with him, I mean, he alluded to that. He came out and said, "Look, when the game's on the line and you need a score and it's win or go home," he goes, "I want to be that guy. I want to be in that position. I don't want to be waiting and depending upon something else." He goes, "I want the ball." And that's what you want your QB1 to say and have that attitude. And boy, did he make plays when it counted on that last drive? What was it? Almost an 80-yard drive, 13 plays, I think, to seal the deal.
Yeah, I think it was at least 75. It's on one of these pieces of paper that's here in front of me. But I think even right after that big run he had down to the 3, the smarts to get up fast, get the offense organized, not let Bowling Green sub to put more big guys on the field, because they were kind of in a little bit of a prevent with a lot of guys in the secondary. And then you just give it to Aaron Young, let him plow right forward, let those boys up front go and eat. They were good in run blocking, I think, the whole game. But that all plays into that too, of the game slowing down, understanding the bigger picture, and getting that rush up to the line and scoring the touchdown and not even giving Bowling Green a chance.
You're so right about that, because we were going crazy at Afterglow, and I looked down for just a second. I looked up and we were in the end zone. So we weren't even ready for it. Yep. It was talk about tempo and getting things going when it mattered. They did it right.
Not leaving too much time on the clock like some other team that was on the field on Saturday.
And what an amazing moment for him after a very difficult moment 2 weeks ago against Virginia Tech. I mean, Colton could have packed it up and just not been a good teammate the rest of the year and just transferred out, right? But instead, he kept grinding and practicing, Ricky credited how great of a week of practice he had. And he comes out and has this amazing moment yesterday where his future at ODU is now completely changed. So credit to Colton.
In that post game, Gary, in that narrow cinder block hallway, you could hear exactly how excited the guys were, not only for the victory, but I would have to imagine excited for Colton in leading that drive and leading the team to victory.
Yeah. After we talked with Colton, he walked the 5 feet into the ODU locker room, which I've never been happier to have bad audio on a recording, because that was a good reason to have bad audio. But it had kind of settled a little bit because it had been probably about 8-9 minutes. But he turned the corner, walked in there, and you would have thought they just came off the field again. Like, those dudes were yoked for them. Just really in that locker room, in that hallway coming off the field. Like, it was just like the weight was lifted off those guys' shoulders, and they were so happy, so excited, blasting the music, having fun. It was a good feel. And man, you talk about going from a penalty that extends a drive that then puts us down, and then you get that drive to go win it. That's something you may look back on if ODU like wins 6, 7, 8 games the rest of the way. Like, you're going to look back at that drive as kind of when things flipped for this program.
Yeah, I think this is a good time for us to give credit to the pride of ODU and take a break.
This episode of the Monarchist Podcast is brought to you by the Pride of ODU Collective. Their mission is to elevate the experience of student athletes through name, image, and likeness, while also elevating the fan experience. If you or your business are interested in getting involved, you can reach out to us directly or go over to theprideofodu.com. That is theprideofodu.com. Thank you for listening, and go Monarchs.
All right, so we got to wrap this game up and start talking about next week. Gary, talk to us about Bowling Green, the experiences of well, I guess you were more media yesterday, but what was the stadium like? What was the crowd like?
Yeah, it's an older stadium. I think it was built back in like the 60s. I think it's kind of the perfect size and layout for them. Like, half of it has been renovated, and they have really nice spots in the end zone. And other parts of it are like, I'm pretty sure that urinal was there in the 60s. But no, I think the fans were great. They had big tailgates going on. Phil Vassar played a concert out in the parking lot beforehand. It was probably 85, 90% full in the stands. There are little container suites that are down in one of the end zones. It's really just like a shipping container they've opened up. They've got grill, they've got water, and then there's a ramp that goes up to the roof of the seats. So you have great view from the end zone. A lot of cool stuff there. A lot of really just great people, both working for Bowling Green and then the fans I interacted with. Like, probably one of the nicer fan bases I've been around. And believe me, I think in that situation, they probably could have been pretty good jerks to those of us coming out of the press box at the end of the game, and they weren't. But man, we got to talk about Harold Fannin Jr. Like, he might be the best tight end that I've ever seen.
Oh my God. That guy is so good.
You got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, he just makes every catch. He runs the routes the right way. They do a really good job of making it hard for you to double cover him or put a bracket on him. I don't know if you saw a lot of those plays where they were running basically 4 receivers to the same side as him, and he's kind of in the middle, and you can barely even cover him with one person. And when he gets the ball, he's gone. You throw it up there, he goes and gets it. He is going to make a lot of money in the NFL. I mean, just like his stat line here: 12 targets, 12 catches, 188 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like, that's insane. Like, 85 yards after the catch. Like, he is a special talent. I think Connor Bazelak is really good too. I imagine that, I don't know if any of our defensive coaches have hair left because they were probably pulling it out. They were dialing up every blitz known to man. I mean, we're sending 6, we're sending 7, we're doing all that. And Bowling Green was just able to pick it up. And Bazelak just has that experience to know where the pressure is, move without looking, and keep those eyes downfield. Like, they're going to do some damage in the MAC. After seeing them in person, I'm even happier that I've got a couple of futures bets hanging out there on them. Because if they keep those 2 guys healthy and Terrion Stewart healthy, they're going to be tough to stop in the MAC. They're a good team that we beat on Saturday, like a good team that that's gonna pump up some strength of schedule for us later on.
Yeah, their tight ends, both of them, made it very difficult for us to get off the field on third down. 9 of 17 for Bowling Green on third down. And it's because of those tight ends and how well they did picking up the blitzes. So credit to them. That was – it feels good to beat a very good and talented team.
Nice to be on the winning side of those after coming close in some other ones. But there's one play –
Go ahead, Gary.
There's one play I can think of where we rushed 7. So we had single coverage on the 4 receivers they sent out. They kept their running back in to block. And Koa made the perfect move off of a stun up front. The gates opened. You could see it. And Bazelak had nowhere to go. And out of nowhere, Terrion Stewart comes in and just lights him up. And, like, you can't practice and game plan blitz pickup better than Bowling Green did on Saturday. Like, and it's not that the pass rush was bad and the guys on defense were playing poorly. Like, they just couldn't get home. And you got to give credit to our defense, though. Those guys were on the field a long time. There were some long plays. I think 2 of the longest plays I've ever seen, both the end of the game and that funky fumble situation. Like, those dudes are tough to keep getting up, keep getting after it, man. Like, can't throw enough praise on this defense and what they've done to keep us in games. And just, I think Jerron Manning said we got like 6 seconds between plays to catch our breath, forget the last play, and go. And I'm pretty sure every guy rotating out there had that mindset on Saturday.
Aaron, what were you going to add there?
It couldn't have been very important because I already forgot.
Well, before we move on, I got to keep giving credit to our defense. Super Mario Thompson was fantastic again. It's amazing he's only a sophomore, a true sophomore. How did we land him? Like, he's been amazing.
Yeah, he's a stud. There's some dudes on that defense, man. Like, we've had good defenses in the past, but man, like even if the ball's not coming their way, you just watch the way that they track the ball and the way they move and cover, and in Jerron's case, bait quarterbacks into throwing picks. Like, that is a well-coached defense. So, like, Coach Seiler, Coach Rebstock, like, that whole defensive staff has done a good job of bringing talent, developing talent, and then executing on game day. Like, I'm sure they probably wanted 6 or 7 sacks. They probably deserved to have 6 or 7 sacks Saturday. But, man, I don't know if we're going to see another team that picks up the blitz as well as Bowling Green did.
Yeah, I want to also give credit to Denzel Lowry and Chris Trinidad. They both had fantastic games yesterday and are showing the impact they can have on the defensive line, especially in the run game, because we held them to, 2.6 yards per carry yesterday?
It wasn't very much.
Yeah, 2.9.
And then a lot of that should be credited to, obviously, our linebackers and our safeties, but that defensive line and how hard they're playing.
Yeah. We've been skeptical of the 3-man front, I think, to put it nicely, but it's working well with his defense now and what they're able to do. And, man, I think Denzel Lowry probably ran like 20 miles on the field chasing Bazelak around. But, I mean, just gets right back up and goes again. Like I don't know. I know I'm not that tough.
Now, what I found interesting looking at the defensive numbers is, in certain games, we've got a couple guys that their tackle numbers are high compared to some of the other guys on the field. And in this game, man, it is spread around like peanut butter. I mean, we're looking 9, 9, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6, 5. And just everybody was in on the action yesterday. Everybody came up big when they needed to.
Yeah. And shout out to Jaleel Colbreth. He continues to produce for us. But next Saturday, we make the trip to Conway, South Carolina to play Coastal Carolina, the team that claims they're next to the beach that aren't really close to the beach. So we get to face off against Ethan Vasco again. We know he can kill us with his feet, but he's struggling with the pass this season, and it's going to be an interesting battle.
Yeah, Coastal's been an interesting team. I think they got hyped up pretty good when they beat Jacksonville State cleanly in their first week, but I think we know now that Jacksonville State may not have been as good as we thought. I think Coastal had a little coming back down to earth when they lost to Virginia last week, but and they're coming off a bye. They're going to be thinking about us for 2 weeks. Ethan Vasco is really good, and you've got to shut him down. Like, he is their best skill position player without a doubt. He's going to do it with his feet. He did it with his feet last year against us in Norfolk. I'll never forget that game and how important that game was and the way that the standings laid out. We obviously know a good bit about Ethan Vasco. We were really excited when he was committed to come to ODU. Things happened. Power 5 offer came in, and then he's now transferred over to Coastal. But I think if you want a defensive game plan, pin him up, contain him. Don't let him beat you with his feet and make him throw. And I think there's a good pathway for us there. I would imagine there's some guys on our defense that are going to want a little revenge for last year and what he was able to do to our defense last season.
I'd have to imagine that both defensive coordinators are going to be thinking a lot of the same kind of things. Obviously, Ethan Vasco, like you're talking, I mean, you think of the feet, you think of the legs first. Obviously, he showed that he can throw the ball last year when he played here. But on their side of the ball, they're probably thinking the same thing with Colton. Assuming that Grant isn't healthy enough to play. But we might see a lot of rushing yards next week.
Well, that'll be the fun shell game, and the advantage that we have is I don't think anyone knows who's starting at quarterback on Saturday. I mean, could be Grant, could be Colton, could be Quinn, and I think that's going to be a closely guarded secret. And it'll be one of those situations that before our first possession, when we're huddling on the sideline, all three of those quarterbacks are going to be in there getting hyped up, acting like they're going in, and they're going to know about 10 seconds before the ball is snapped. So I think that's a big advantage for us on the ground. We don't know who they're going to go out there. Maybe we just rotate all three throughout the day if Grant's good to go.
It's definitely going to be a number one topic of discussion again for another week is what's going on in the quarterback position. But this is a huge opportunity for us to start off 1-0 in the Sun Belt and to get our second win of the year. The coaches have stressed it throughout. They are focused on winning a Sun Belt championship, and it all starts this Saturday. Aaron, what you got written down there?
Oh, boy.
I wrote down 40 seconds. Mike talked on mute. Delete.
We'll add this to that, too.
You asked.
I thought you were going to have a moment of
clarity.
football genius to share with us.
There aren't many of those moments that come out of my mouth, and this time was not one of them, unfortunately.
I got to say, for football genius, by the way, Eric Bohannon, he is really, really good at his job, and want to thank him for getting me coordinated to be up in the press box at Bowling Green on Saturday. He is the oracle for ODU football. Like, he's calling out records and stats and career highs, like the Conway touchdown. Like, he was telling us that was a career-long reception before we kicked the extra point. And that's not like, Conway did that last year for us. He did that at Merritt back before he came there. So shout out to Eric and that whole staff, man. They do a really, really good job, and it is not an easy job to do.
Yeah, he's been so good to us over the years, and we're forever thankful for how good he has been to all of us at the Monarchist. So this game on Saturday night at 7 o'clock in Conway, it's a whiteout. Their fans are going to be jacked up. It's going to be 7. We're going to be tailgating all day long and just lubed up, ready to go at 7 o'clock at night. It's going to be a tough environment, I think.
Well, if the people on the one side of the stadium can find their way all the way over there after that long day of partying, because we were all at that bowl game. So for Monarch Nation who's watching this right now, if you haven't been to Conway, if you haven't been in the stadium, you come in there's one door into the stadium basically, and in order to get to the other side of the stadium, You got to walk through everybody all the way around. It's like the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's the worst ingress egress, but you can enter on the other side of the stadium. We didn't know that, but I also don't think it would have been any more convenient. But having to walk up into those end zone seats to just get to the other side is the weirdest path ever. And they're building a new indoor facility in the other end zone, right?
I
I
think
don't know.
I think it's across the street because the other end zone where the scoreboard is, there's like 8 feet, and then there's a road, and then there's a grass field. So I'm guessing it's out there. But yeah, I mean, if you want really good seats, just park in the grass on the side of the road behind the scoreboard, and you'll be fine.
They're rerouting that road to build the IPF in the end zone.
Let's call it the Aaron Zelinsky Highway of second entrance.
Well, now that I know that there's another entrance, I mean, God, Mike, you've let me think this for like 2 years.
I didn't know you thought that was the only entrance.
I mean, it
It's the only
sure
entrance
felt
you
like
could
it.
do.
We were walking, I mean, like 30,000 steps to try
Just
to
a
go sit.
parade.
Yeah.
I
it
still don't
was.
understand why they didn't let us walk on the other end zone. There's nothing
I don't
there.
know.
It would have made
No.
more sense. I don't know. There were 80 people at the bowl game. Well, I should say, I'm going to say there's 2,000 people at the bowl game, and 1,800 of them were ODU fans when we were playing Tulsa. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see what that crowd is like. Like, it's so hit or miss there. Like, they have some games where there's like no one in the stands, and they have other ones where it's sold out and rowdy and crazy as hell. So it's like flip a coin of what's going to show up. I'm wondering what we do for uniforms, knowing that it's a whiteout, and typically the road team wears white. We were in all white at Bowling Green. And I do know that this coaching staff has a tendency to, if you win in a uniform, you're going to wear that uniform again. So
Don't even wash it.
trust me, you need to wash it. My shirt was freaking wet from being down there near the locker room because all the guys chest bumping.
So, and unlike us, I mean, they had their last home game was against UVA, and they had another home game against William and Mary. So this will be the third Virginia team playing in Conway this year already.
Got to fill those hotels in Myrtle Beach somehow. It ain't going to be that beach anymore.
I'd be stopping at Buc-ee's on the way, both ways.
Oh yeah, Buc-ee's in Darlington. If you're making the trip, definitely stop at Buc-ee's. I just peeked the lines. We opened as 4-point dogs. It's gone up to 5-point dogs now, and the total's at 55.5, which is a really key number for college football totals, but also the highest total that we've had this season. We did go over against Bowling Green. The game-winning touchdown pushed the over, so no worries about the missed extra point creating any shenanigans for Vegas. 5 is too much, and I think 55 is way too high, knowing that this is probably going to be a ground and pound style game. Like I love the way that our defense matches up against Coastal. Like we've seen it in the past. Like they run a little bit different offense than the old days of that funky triple option with Grayson McCall, but it's still kind of the same concepts. And we just have so many athletes on defense and so many guys that can rotate in. Like I like the way we match up. We just have to limit Vasco. Like that's where they got to us last year. Is Vasco just played his ass off when he came in that game.
Well, who are you going to spy on him?
I mean, I would not put one single spy on him. Like I would play a boatload of zone in that linebacker group and with your safeties, so that way, no matter where he peels to, you can cover and you can go and adjust. Like we did a pretty good job of containing Bazelak. He only had like 1 or 2 little runs. I think that kind of setup may be really good. Think of it like how you play against the Bills, right? If you play man, Josh Allen is going to carve you to pieces. If you play zone, you've got a pretty good chance.
Yeah. We're going to have to stop the run in this one. We're going to need another huge effort there. If we can match what we did against Bowling Green, that would be helpful. But this team can run the ball really well.
Yeah, I mean, from the quarterback perspective, Vasco is a way more dangerous threat with his legs than Bazelak was.
Yeah, but he doesn't have that arm or a Fannin out there to throw to. So
I hope we don't see anyone good as Fannin the rest of the year, because my goodness, Like Coach Ronnie said that was the best tight end that he has seen play football. And that is a guy who was in the Big Ten against guys that have had successful careers in the league, including Zach Kuntz, who I think was really good.
And he was the coach of just Mike Gesicki, who's a fantastic
Yep.
NFL tight end.
Right. Yeah.
Still playing.
And he said that post game, like, that is the best tight end he's seen. Like, that's high praise, but well deserved for Fannin. Like, man, I'm glad that game has passed us and we have a W next to the score.
I saw Kellen Winslow play at Miami, so I think he's still my top. He was so good. Fannin was as good as advertised. If we can stop Christian Watson and slow down Vasco, they're both averaging about 50 plus a game, combining for 100. I mean, that's a pretty good combination right there. But if we can slow them down and force them to throw, we're going to be in a really good position here.
I'll ask both of you guys. So we've played South Carolina, East Carolina, Virginia Tech, and Bowling Green. Do either of you think that Coastal Carolina's defensive front is better than any of those four?
No chance.
Right? So it doesn't mean they're bad, but I think we played four like top 50 defensive lines right now. Like I really do. Like, I mean, South Carolina goes without saying, but the Tech is good up front. East Carolina's really good up front. And Bowling Green was no slouch either. So I think there's some opportunity for our offensive line to just continue improving here. Like I think they've got the run blocking down. It's the pass protection. You move some pieces around. You threw in a new piece. Maybe you have some other guys that come back. Like I think there's going to be some chances for this offensive line to go and eat in this game and get into that second level, which will help us run the ball because it's the easiest defensive front we've played, but I would not say that they are a bad defensive front at all.
Yeah, I think
that makes sense.
I think that's a fair breakdown of what Coastal is. I mean, they're not as good as Virginia Tech, but they're not terrible. They're a good Sun Belt defense.
Yeah. And then they lost a lot of skilled position guys from last year. Like they don't have those exceptional wide receivers that they've had in the past. So the running backs, they have talent and guys are developing kind of in the same way that we do. But there's no one on there where I'm looking at the name and goes, damn it, we got to play that guy again.
So, yeah, like Isaiah Likely. Like,
that dude's a monster, man. He's a monster.
I'm really interested to see if we keep tinkering with this lineup. I mean, we saw a lot this week, a lot of changes on the offensive line, which we already discussed. Are we going to run that same line out there next week, or are we going to keep making adjustments and trying to find the best fit with all this depth we have?
I mean, I would say that we're going to probably, unless something weird happens in practice, we see the line that we saw at the end of the game.
And it's possible, but that's another thing for Coastal to have to prep for. Like, make them burn all this extra time that they have. Because I think we've, like, a lot of snaps wise, I think we've had 9 offensive linemen that have come through different games and have played some meaningful snaps. And I know we had some guys get banged up. Like we saw Santana Saunders come off. Thankfully, he did not go in the tent. He went on the bike and was back out there. Barlev, like I don't know what got him, but he was hurting, but he was right back in the game. So, I mean, getting those guys rehabbed healthy, but to have some options and some position flexibility in the offensive line is big. And that's huge. Because last year, like, I don't think we had that. Like, I think we had 6 offensive linemen last year, and that was it. And we had some guys get hurt.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't even see Pat yesterday, and he had a fantastic game against Virginia Tech, especially in the run game. So, yeah, we have options. It's nice.
So, for a travel perspective, guys, I mean, obviously, we've gone to the bowl game. We drove down there. These guys fly down. Is it an easy trip? Is it weird? What's this look like?
It's probably one of their shorter flights. They are going to fly down and fly back, which will be very good because historically we have gone bus to Coastal Carolina. I know for the bowl game we definitely did. We've gone down on the bus before. So it's just, I think it's like a 45-minute flight, 50-minute flight. You land and you're about 10 miles from the stadium. I'm sure they're staying somewhere over by the airport or near the beach. Yeah, I mean, even their flight back from Bowling Green, they stayed in Toledo. They landed in Toledo, so it was about 30-minute bus ride. So they're not spending a lot of time on planes like whatever the ACC has concocted now, where you've got dudes flying 3,000 miles every other week. Like that takes a toll on your body. I don't know. I kind of like it, and I think our staff does a really good job of making sure those guys are taken care of. The amount of food that they have is unbelievable on these road trips, man. They are. I mean, I know they're athletes. They're not basing their diet off 2,000 calories. It's probably more like 6.
Yeah, me and Aaron actually had a nice conversation with DJ Morrell this week. He talked to us about how many calories he had to eat when he was a football player.
Crazy, man. Did he say 8 to 10,000?
Yes. So
Just
part
to
of his
keep
job
his
was
weight on.
because he would burn it so easily. That's another job for you, just to eat.
Well, to pay for all that food.
Well, I meant more of like it's just a task that you have to take a lot of time out of your day to eat 10,000 calories.
It does.
Their post-dinner snack looks like a barbecue at my house. Like you think snack, I'm getting like a bag of chips and fruit, something like that. They're over there eating like 12-inch subs and fried chicken and all this other stuff, man. But it's good though because I imagine our defense, like each player probably burned 1,000 calories a quarter easily in that game the way they were running. So I think we do a really good job of making sure those guys are not impacted on the field by their travel. And this is a shorter trip. Like I'm not too worried about that aspect of it.
I'd be interested to know which hotel they're staying at because they stayed at the beach last time, but they were there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This time, you don't want any shenanigans the night before the game.
Yeah, there's some hotels that are closer to the airport, kind of a little bit farther off the beach, that I think could probably be a good spot. I'm sure I'll find out at some point here in the next day or two where they're going. But I mean, I stayed in the team hotel with them, and aside from the fact that I was in the lobby when they got there and we were loading the bus, and I heard the defense once out in the courtyard getting hyped up. You didn't even know that like the team was there. So they keep it pretty locked up. Those guys are pretty focused when they're in those hotels. But yeah, that might be a little bit of a temptation if you put them right on the ocean front.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach is a lot different than Toledo, Ohio. There's a lot more trouble to get into.
You can find trouble in Toledo. It's just not the kind of trouble you want to get into.
Yeah. All right.
There's some. I gotta tell the story from last night. So I leave the stadium. Everyone else is gone. The team's already gone and rolled out. I go over to Hollywood Casino where there was the scene of the crime from Friday on the blackjack tables. I'm like, well, there's really nothing to eat. Well, there's one pizza place in downtown Toledo called Home Slice. It's open. I put the order online. I drive over there, and I'm just parked on the street in downtown Toledo, and I pull up behind this like smaller truck, and I'm like, all right, pizza's gonna be ready in a minute. I'm just gonna wait here. All of a sudden, like 3 heads pop up out of the back of the truck and are looking at me. I guess there's a bunch of kids in the back of this truck waiting for their pizza, and that cop had someone pulled over on the next block. Second that cop car left, that truck, no lights on, just peeled out and took off. It was like, that's Toledo in a nutshell right there.
How was the pizza?
It was really good, actually.
New York style, or what are we talking about here?
I think it was like Detroit style personal pizza.
Well, that's deep, right?
Yeah, but it was only like about that big around. So it was like perfect for one person to eat at 1 a.m. when they've got to wake up at 7 to go to the airport.
Nice. Well, thank you for giving us all this great coverage. If you haven't seen the post-game interviews, go to our YouTube account. Gary got, 5 post-game interviews?
I think 4. 3 players and Coach Ronnie. And give us some feedback on if you like the coverage of the game. Like, obviously, we got to deal with our resources and figure it out. But if you kind of enjoyed that type of coverage during the game through what we were doing on Twitter, let us know, something for us to think about in the future. So we just love the fan feedback on it.
And if you're in the 757 this weekend, come to Afterglow. It's going to be a fun time. We gave out quite a bit of merch last night. Made a lot of fans leave happy. everyone that won, I think all but one person said they've never won anything before. So it was pretty cool to give them something to be happy about on top of the victory. So come out, have a beer with us, and root on the Monarchs. We should be there at 6 o'clock on Saturday. Correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron.
Yeah, that's an hour before kickoff. I will say that the Monarch Pilsner is selling well. So and sold a bunch more last night. So come out next week, try it on draft, take a 4-pack home. If you want it for the next home game, I would recommend you get over there and you buy some before those cans are gone, because we don't know how long it'll be before there are more cans.
Yeah, I believe we're down to 2 kegs, and
I think
like
it's less than that. I think they're on the last. They may have come close to finishing the second last night,
okay.
but they want to make sure that they've got it for the watch party.
So yeah, we have that, and then we're down to like 9 cases left. So if you want a 4-pack, you need to act and just get there, because who knows if it'll be made again? We don't know. Aaron, you got anything else we need to add? Oh, predictions. All right.
Working
I don't
way
know
over
who
his
was first last week. I don't know who was first last week. I think I was. So, Aaron, you've been mixing it up with us. You got your 50-yard game winner. Are you changing it up for us?
Well, we're going to keep it simple this week. So Old Dominion now, the last 14 of 17 games has been a 1-score game. We continue to play close games. We've got, I think, a 500 record in that. So we're good in 1-score games. Until that changes, I can't go away from that. So I think it's going to be a close game again. We saw that if it comes down to a close game and we need a long kick, we certainly can make that kick. This is going to be a fast game. Both quarterbacks are going to run a lot. We're going to try to rush the ball a lot. I think it's not going to be a high scoring game. And we win. It's not going to be a 50-yarder, but we win with a field goal by Mr. Sanchez. And we go 1-0 in the Sun Belt.
All right. I like it. Gary?
I can't believe you dropped the 50-yarder tag off there, like especially after you just made one from 53.
Well, it could be, but I'm sure I'll read about it in David Asbury's article, how I've got the worst record and that Ethan didn't win it might even become a part of his article, and measuring it. So I'll try to be a little bit more accurate this week.
Well, to be fair, Aaron, you've had the toughest schedule of the three of us on here, and you've come close to being 3-1. So don't let that get you down. All right. I'm definitely taking ODU with the 5 points. Like, I think this is a field goal game without a doubt. So I'll let that, see if that thing keeps steaming up. Maybe get 6, maybe get 7 when you go and bet it. We've kind of had a problem the week after the game, after the bye week, historically for ODU. Like, it's kind of a letdown in 21 and some of the other ones, but I just feel like this team has a different level of juice right now. I think they have a different level of talent. I think the unknowns that we have on offense are going to play to our advantage because we're going to know and Coastal's not. I think Colton Joseph should be the starter regardless of health, like just that gamer mentality and going and getting that win. I think he's going to be the guy. And I'm going to go with Colton Joseph. Once again, makes a big play on our last drive to win the game for us. Low scoring, like, I don't know, like a 24-20-ish kind of funky score, maybe a missed extra point here or there, safety, something like that. But I think what we have is an unknown on offense, plus the way our defense matches up this year against Coastal Carolina. I love that matchup so much. So I'm going ODU straight up and ODU with the points. And if I can sneak across the border, I will once again be putting that into an app somewhere.
I snuck across the border this morning to play golf in Moyock and locked it in. Old Dominion money line, 2 units. I'm ready. I got ODU winning this one. I like our running game. I like our offensive line. I love our defense. And I'm excited to see whoever plays quarterback continue to grow and adapt. And this play calling hopefully continues to use the entire field. Old Dominion wins 24-18. So I'm definitely on that under.
Yeah, 55.5 is too much. Too much. One other note, I'm not looking past Coastal Carolina, but I want to give ODU fans a heads up. If you're traveling to Atlanta for Georgia State, the deadline to register for the ODU alumni tailgate there is tomorrow, or depending on when you listen to this, it's Monday the 30th is the deadline. I was chatting with Matthew Harrell today. He's the president of the ODU alumni chapter down that way. Definitely looking for more people to sign up and go. I know I will be over there for that game, hitting the road again. It was a great experience 2 years ago. A lot of ODU fans had a lot of fun out there before we went into the game and kind of took their stadium over a little bit. So be on the lookout for that. It is on the ODU Alumni Association website. I think Krista Harrell, who works for ODU Alumni, has that link on her social media platforms. But please go sign up for that and join your fellow Monarchs for a tailgate when you go down to Georgia State, because there ain't shit else to do right around Turner Field. Believe me, I tried. We had to get locks taken off of beer coolers last time we were down there until that tailgate opened.
All right, you heard him. If you're going to Atlanta, go to the Alumni Association tailgate and register soon before the deadline is passed. Thank you all for listening. One more push. Join the collective. We need more members. The more members we have, the more powerful we are as a collective.
Thank you to everyone who came out and joined last night. We
Yes.
had, 8 or 9 folks that joined the collective that had not previously. So thank you to each and every one of you who did yesterday. As Mike and I were doing the best sales pitch that we possibly could. But I think folks are realizing that there's a lot of value there in joining. So thank you so much.
And if you come to the watch party and you're a member, you're going to get 10% off your bill. That's hard to beat. For $7.57 a month, you can save 10% every time you hang out with the Monarchists and the Pride of ODU at Afterglow. So join up, support us. I want to continue doing this until we hit a specific number in my head.
1 billion registrations.
So, yeah. Thanks again for tuning in. We are the Monarchists, and go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs.